Good afternoon, Jerry. My name is Jack Brennan. I work for the Townsville Child Safety Services, and I've called this meeting with you today to look a bit more into your current situation and break down the details. So first off, I'm aware that you have been sentenced for 5 years for breaking into a small store and stealing a bunch of items, correct? Alright. A bit more details on what we're doing today. I've made a little presentation to, pick apart the details of your case and to educate you about the laws, more specifically the Queensland laws, as well as hopefully inspiring you to take action and make better decisions in the future. Okay, so this toolkit, as we'll call it, is intended to help give you support in legal problem solving. This will help break down the processes, the facts, and hopefully teach you how to understand the laws to provide you with relevant resources and information. So more about yourself. You were caught for breaking into a small store and stealing a few items to feed yourself and your brother. Yeah. Okay, so to the best of my knowledge, this happened because your parents neglected you, showing no interest in taking any responsibility or care for you and your brother Terry. Yep. Anyway, your home life consisted of abuse from both your mother and father, and at some recent point in your life, you were removed from school, more precisely ninth grade, because your father thought he was wasting his money. This is actually surprising considering you actually were doing exceptionally well at school. But anyway, due to you not attending school for almost 2 years, I will try and avoid using legal terms and complicated language because I want you to understand me clearly and I want you to get the most out of this session. Moving on, this toolkit has been made to help you by demonstrating the processes of gathering and identifying the relevant facts, assist in explaining the approaches for identifying the issues, to help support you in demonstrating the processes for researching relevant and up-to-date laws, to give you some assistance in helping you apply the law to the facts, and to lastly help you understand the laws in greater depth. So throughout this toolkit, we'll be utilizing the IRAC model to give you a watered down style to help problem solve legal issues such as yours. The model will help you by breaking down the situation, but first thing first, the IRAC in the IRAC name is abbreviated for issue, role, application, and conclusion. In making the IRAC method, it is important to know that the issue needs to be identified. The relevant facts need to be recognized, as well as the rules. And the rules and laws also must be applied to the facts, and the conclusion must be stated. The relevant facts which are appropriate to your case include you breaking into a small store to steal goods to feed yourself and your brother. You stole 30 items from the store, each item costing $5 each. After grabbing what you wanted, you left the store with the items, returned home, and shared it between you and your brother. These facts on your case show that you had stolen basically $150 worth of items. You accomplished this, I guess, by not paying for the items and breaking into the store using a window, allowing you to enter easily. So in Queensland, the laws which relate to theft fall under the category of offences which connect to property in the criminal code. These offences include stealing, obtaining items dishonorably, being given stolen items, and burglary. There are lesser offences such as shoplifting, which include stealing items worth under $150 in total. These offences are usually dealt with by the Regulatory Offence Act, 1985, instead of the Criminal Code. Furthermore, it's more important to know that shoplifting offences also include things such as eating and drinking something out of a shop and not paying for it, or tampering with a price tag for any item sold within that store. If the offence is under a total of $150, then it's usually handled with by a fine. However, if the items taken cost $150 or more, then the situation, which may seem like a small shoplifting offence, will actually turn into a stealing offence. It's extremely important that you remember the definition of stealing, which includes taking the belongings of another person without their consent and having no intention of giving it back. This could include an item from a shop valued more than $150, or anything like a pet, such as a dog, jewelry, cars, money, or anything of great value. It is also important to remember that the punishment for stealing depends on the item or items taken. The most common punishment by law for stealing includes a 5-year prison sentence. However, the sentence can change to a maximum term of 10 years if the person stealing uses violence or any form of violence, threatens violence, stole from a safe, or stole from a house items exceeding $1,000. So, on another note, when breaking into the store, you also breached another law within the criminal code, break and entering laws. You committed burglary. Burglary is one of the many offences within the criminal code which you committed while trying to steal the items. This offence occurs when a person such as yourself enters the property of another person with the intent to commit a crime. Also, it's vital to note that if the offence is committed through break and entering, the maximum penalty can rise to life imprisonment. However, you did get lucky with that one. Moving on, you should know that in all court cases, no matter the value of the stolen items, offenders will receive a order to appear in court, the magistrate court to be exact, and if found guilty, the result includes a criminal record as well as a punishment. This isn't that important to remember, but it's still useful to know that the magistrate court is the first level of Queensland court system, and most criminal cases are first heard in this court. However, unlike the Supreme and District Courts, the Magistrate Court has no jury, therefore the Magistrate makes all the decisions in criminal matters, including any penalty. In applying the rules to the facts, you, Jerry, had broken into a small supermarket and stolen $150 worth of items, and as mentioned earlier, if the items stolen value over $150, then situation which appears as a shoplifting offence will then become a stealing offence, as stated within the criminal code, more specifically the theft laws and break and entering laws. But if you were to have only stolen 29 cans instead of 30, then you would have possibly gotten away with just a shoplifting charge. But instead, however, the stolen items did exceed past $150, which, that's when it changed over to a stealing offence instead of a shoplifting offence. So, in concluding our use of the RAC method, we have broken down and repieced the facts of your case. And in doing this, we together have identified where the situation escalated. More specifically, where a shoplifting offence turned into a stealing offence, giving yourself a more severe penalty. And continuing on that topic, instead of committing a crime, I guess you could have contacted the police or child safety services for help with your home life. There are many alternative paths you could have taken, Jerry, to avoid the situation which occurred. However, I guess you just weren't quite aware of the other outcomes. That's all right. That's what we're here today for. I guess to help you further understand where you went wrong, we can go into a bit more depth now that we know a bit more about the law, about your case. So, by breaking into the store through the window, Jerry, you breached the break-in entering laws within the criminal code. When breaking into the store, you checked all the boxes for what was classified or identified as breaking and entering. For the situation to be classified by police as a break and entering offence, the offender would have needed to enter the property of another person with the intent to commit a crime. The crime being committed is considered criminal, and that the offender had to enter the property through breaking in. Jerry, when you broke in, you ticked all 4 boxes because you broke a window to enter the premises, which then you entered the property with the intention to steal, while having some clue about what you're doing, and I guess knowing deep down that it was wrong. While on that note, you had stolen the items which you had primarily broken into the store for, with the items being worth $150 exactly, in which that was the exact moment that your situation changed into a stealing offence. Since you've been sentenced, you should already be aware that the penalty for stealing is more severe than shoplifting, as you have been given a 5-year sentence when you're caught. However, the punishment for breaking and entering can vary or range between probation, a community service order, an intensive corrections order, fines, and worst case scenario, an imprisonment. The courts, however, made a probation order a part of your sentence, meaning that you, as an offender, are ordered to serve a period of time being no longer than 1 year in prison. So instead of getting a fine or bonus prison time, they agreed to give you some probation, which I guess is fair, and it's understandable considering you, I guess, for the situation you're in. On a final note, I understand you've already been sentenced. However, the intended purpose for this toolkit was to ensure you would learn more about the laws and their penalties, and that there were other outcomes available, which you should definitely think about in the future. So you would avoid solving issues with crime, as doing that, as we more specifically you would now know, can just make a situation much worse.